Place of supply is one of the factor to determine whether the transaction or the supply is intrastate supply or interstate supply. So there are two factors. So one is location of supplier and second is place of supply. These two factors determine whether a transaction is intrastate supply or interstate supply. Okay, that is, we already know if it is in the same state it is intrastate supply. If it is between two states it will be called as interstate supply. So this place of supply in case of goods is given under section 10 and 11 of IGST Act. In case of services it is given under 12 and 13 of IGST Act. So in case of goods, that too if it is domestic transactions, section 10. If it is international transaction means imports and exports, that is 11. And in case of services, if both location of supplier and place of supply, that is location of supplier and recipient in India, section 12, either location of supplier or location of recipient in India, the other is outside India, then it is 13. So which section is applicable in which case you need to be knowing. Okay, so goods is 10 and 11. All these sections are of which act? IGST Act, not CGST Act or IGST Act. So section 10 deals with goods, that too domestic transactions. Section 11 deals with goods, that is international transaction, import and export. Services is 12 and 13. In that 12 is when both are in India. Who are in India? Supplier as well as recipient, both are in India. And 13 when either supplier in India and the recipient outside India, or supplier in India, that is supplier outside India and recipient in India. Out of these two, one in India and the other outside India. Done? Understood? That is in case of 13. Now, suppose if both are outside India, sir. If both supplier and recipient are outside India, then if both supplier and recipient are outside India, then in that case, first of all, place of supply not applicable. So why place of supply not applicable? Because both are outside India. Max to max there is no levy, but only in one case, GST payable. What is that? Transportation of goods by vessel. Transportation of goods by vessel from where to where? From outside India to India. Somewhere yesterday we discussed about transportation of passengers by vessel. So transportation of goods by vessel. Thereafter I corrected. And transportation of goods by vessel from where to where? India to outside India we discussed, correct? So that is called as exempted supply, and it will be exempted for payment of GST, and even it will be treated as taxable for the purpose of availment of ITC. What is this point? Transportation of goods by vessel in the context of export or import? Import. So goods are coming from outside India to India. So in that case, liability to pay GST is on recipient, but that recipient is not there in India. So already we discussed, if you remember, both supplier and recipient are outside India, but one person will be paying GST. Who is that? Importer of such goods. Importer of such goods will be paying GST. Please see, if both location of supplier and location of recipient are outside India, place of supply cannot be determined and for such service, and it is exempted. However, in case of transportation of goods by vessel, from where to where? From outside India to India. From outside India to India. It is taxable, and GST is payable by importer of such goods. You understood or not? Where we discussed this? Under exception to 9 subsection 3 we discussed. And next one, place of supply in case of goods. Section 10 and 11 we are discussing. Place of supply in case of goods, section 10 and 11. So section 10 is applicable when in case of domestic transactions. So what is that? If supply involves movement of goods, we need to take ending point as the place of supply. Supply involves movement of goods, ending point. Supply does not involve movement of goods, location of such goods. For example, you are coming to my place and you are placing an order with me, and you are taking the goods along with you. Supply involves movement of goods, or supply does not involve movement of goods? Again I am repeating. Say you are from Andhra Pradesh, you are coming to Tamil Nadu, and you are asking me to supply the goods. You place the order, I delivered the goods to you. Now you are taking it to your place, Andhra Pradesh from Tamil Nadu. And supply involves movement or supply does not involve movement of goods? Supply involves, does not involve. Why does not involve? Because You are coming to my place and you are taking the goods to your place. So supply does not involve movement of goods. When supply does not involve movement of goods, what should be taken as the place of supply? Location of goods at the time of clear. Location of goods at the time of clearance. So here, where is the goods at the time of delivery? Where is the goods at the time of delivery? In Tamil Nadu. So that will be taken. Location of goods at the time of delivery. So where is the location of goods at the time of delivery? It is Tamil Nadu. So that will be taken. Okay. Then suppose you place an order with me and I deliver the goods to your location. I deliver the goods to your location in Andhra Pradesh. Now supply involves movement of goods or not? Naturally yes. And in that case, what will be taken as the place of supply? Ending point. Ending point means in our example Andhra Pradesh. Okay. In our example Andhra Pradesh. So we need to check whether supply involves movement of goods or not. If supply involves movement of goods, ending point. If supply does not involve movement of goods, place of delivery, location of goods where the delivery takes place. Okay. Now goods may be at the supplier's place or recipient's place or at another place also. For example, so first case I gave you, goods are at the supplier's place. Now second example you see, I am bringing the goods to your place. I don't know whether you will buy or not. I am transporting goods, I am loading the goods into one lorry, I am bringing the goods to your place and I am showing you the goods. If you like it, you will buy, otherwise you will not buy. So now you liked it and you are buying. So therefore, where is the location of goods at the time of supply? Location of goods at the time of supply is recipient's place. So that will be taken as the place of supply. Same way, suppose if goods are at some other location. Example, say a vessel is at Mumbai port. Vessel is at Mumbai port. Supplier is in Tamil Nadu. Recipient is in Kerala. But the vessel, ship is at Mumbai port. Now what I did, I own that ship. Now I transfer the document of title to the other person. Okay. When I transfer the document of title to the other person, now in that case the sale has taken place. But where the goods are? In Maharashtra, Mumbai, Maharashtra, that will be taken as the place of supply. Understood or not? So it may not be at the supplier's place or recipient place. It may be some other place. That location will be taken as the place of supply. That is this 10(1)(c). Then 10(1)(b), bill to ship to transactions. In case of bill to ship to transactions, we need to take the billing address as the place of supply. For example, so you placed an order with me to deliver the goods to your client. I deliver the goods to your client, but I'll raise invoice to you. When I raise invoice to you, you are my billing address. So your address will be taken as the place of supply for my transaction. Even though I'm not delivering goods to you, I'm delivering goods to some other person. Is it clear or not? Then again, in every bill to ship to transaction, there involves two supplies. How there involves two supplies? I am making supply to you and you are asking me to deliver the goods to your client, means you are making a further supply to your customer, correct or not? So therefore, there are two supplies. So let's try to understand this. What will be taken as the place of supply in each case? What will be taken as place of supply in each case? So bill to ship to transaction illustration I am giving. Illustration on bill to ship to transactions. So illustration on bill to ship to transactions. Say this. There is a supplier, Mr. Ram is the supplier and Mr. Lakshman is the recipient, and thereafter Mr. Bharat is another person. Now Mr. Ram is making supply to Mr. Lakshman. Mr. Ram is making supply to Mr. Lakshman, but the goods are delivered to Mr. Bharat. So which means invoice will be raised to Mr. Lakshman. Invoice will be raised to Mr. Lakshman, but the delivery of goods will be to Mr. Bharat, correct? Delivery of goods is to Mr. Bharat. Invoice will be raised to Mr. Lakshman, delivery of goods will be to Bharat. So this is known as bill to ship to transaction, and this is invoice number 1. Now another invoice will be given by Mr. Lakshman to Bharat because there is another supply now. Invoice number 2. With respect to invoice number 1, what will be taken as the place of supply? Say Mr. Ram is located in Tamil Nadu and Mr. Lakshman is located in Andhra Pradesh, and Mr. Bharat is located in Karnataka. Now, with respect to invoice 1, what will be taken as the place of supply? What will be taken as the place of supply? So, is it Andhra Pradesh or Karnataka? Andhra Pradesh will be taken as the place of supply. With respect to invoice 2, what will be taken as the place of supply? Ending point of the goods. What is ending point of the goods here? Sir, we need to take Karnataka. Why, sir? See, here the place of supply is determined in terms of section 10(1)(b). But here the place of supply is determined in terms of section 10(1)(a). Ending point of the goods. Understood or not? So here it is 10(1)(b), here it will be 10(1)(a). So this is with respect to that bill to ship to transactions here. And hope you got the clarity related to this. So in every bill to ship to transaction, there will be two supplies. You understood or not? Please respond. Then 10(1)(d), location, like goods are assembled or installed at site. So in case where goods are assembled or installed at site means what? See, the supply is such that, so we need to do the installation at the site of the customer. Example, we are supplying one generator, we need to install. We are supplying an AC, we need to install. Like that, when goods are assembled or installed at the site of the customer, then the place of supply will be location of such assembly or installation. So it may not be in recipient's place, it may be in some other place. They will ask us to do the installation. So that some other place where the installation is done will be taken as our place of supply. Okay, for example, I am a supplier of one AC. I am located in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. My buyer is also in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, but he is asking me to install it somewhere in Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh. Now in this case, I'll be installing it in Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh. So now, even though my recipient's place is Chennai, Tamil Nadu, my place also Chennai, Tamil Nadu, but I will be taking place of supply as the location of installation. Clear or not? I will be taking place of supply as the location of installation. Done. So that is this 10(1)(d). Then 10(1)(e), supply on board a conveyance. Supply on board a conveyance means what? Supply on board a conveyance means that, say you are traveling in a flight here. When you are traveling in a flight, generally what will happen? When you are traveling in the flight, so you will be seeing some goods are being sold in the flight, correct? So in that case, when those goods are sold in the flight, so what should be taken as the place of supply? We don't know at what position they will be selling the goods, in the sense like we don't know the place where the goods are, we don't know the place when the goods are delivered. Due to that reason, so we need to take starting point of the goods, not starting point of the passenger. Say for example, you boarded a flight which is in Chennai, but that flight is actually from Cochin to Hyderabad. The flight is from Cochin to Hyderabad via Chennai. So Cochin to Chennai, then second leg is from Chennai to Hyderabad. Okay, you boarded in Chennai, but actually the flight started at Kochi. Now what will be taken as a place of supply with respect to supply of goods on board a conveyance? Is it Chennai or Kochi? Is it Chennai or Kochi? Can you please tell me? Chennai or Kochi? What will be taken as the place of supply? Kochi will be taken as the place of supply. Why? Because starting point of the goods will be taken. So here the starting point of the goods is Cochin. Okay. Suppose if the goods are loaded in Chennai, Chennai will be taken as the place of supply. Very simple. Then this is about 10(1)(a), B, C, D, E. So 10(1)(a), supply involves movement of goods, we will take ending point. 10(1)(b), bill to ship to transaction, we will be taking billing address. And 10(1)(c), that is supply does not involve movement of goods, we will take location of goods. 10(1)(d), goods are assembled or installed at site, we will take location of such assembly. 10(1)(e), when goods are supplied on board a conveyance, we will take the starting point of the goods. Okay, this in case of section 10 here. Then section 11, import and export. In case of import, import and export are always deemed to be interstate. Already we discussed that import and export are always deemed to be interstate. In case of import, location of importer will be taken as the place of supply. In case of export, location outside India will be taken as place of supply. So import location of importer. Export location outside India. Done. Then, in case of services, if both supplier and recipient are in India, section 13, and whenever, like both supplier and recipient are in India, section 12, otherwise section 13. Remember, wherever section 13 comes, then that supply will not be treated as interstate supply. It will not be treated as intrastate supply, it will be treated as interstate supply. So, generally, intrastate supply means what? Location of supplier and place of supply in the same state is intra, correct? Generally, intrastate supply means location of supplier and place of supply in the same state. Okay, that is intrastate supply. These two in same state. Now, what is happening? How to determine this place of supply? This place of supply should be determined under section 12. If place of supply is determined under section 13, okay, so that is location of supplier and place of supply both in the same state. But if the place of supply is determined under section 13, what is 12, what is 13? 13 is like when either one in India, the other outside India, section 13 will determine the place of supply in case of service under section 13, when either one in India and the other outside India. Whereas if both are in India, section 12. Now, actually it should be treated as intrastate supply now, but no, it is treated as deemed interstate supply. Please remember this. Deemed interstate supply, very, very important. Deemed interstate supply, what is that? If location of supplier and place of supply is in the same state and the place of supply is determined under section 13, then it will be treated as deemed interstate supply. Done. Now, so let's take an example to understand this particular deemed interstate supply. So that is determined under section 13. So now have a look into this. So example I am just giving you. There is an architect who is located in Karnataka, India. And there is a person, Mr. John, who is located in Australia. And there is a immobile property. Okay. So architect is rendering services in relation to an immobile property. And where is that immobile property located? That immobile property is located in Kerala. India. Now what will be taken as the place of supply? First of all, section 12 or section 13, we need to check. It is section 13. Why it is section 13? Where the supplier is in India, where the recipient is outside India, then definitely the place of supply will be determined as per section 13. As per section 13, what will be taken as the place of supply? Location of immobile property will be taken as the place of supply. The place of supply will be location of immobile property. So this is determined under 12 or 13. So this is determined under section 13. So location of immobile property, that is Kerala. Supplier is where? Karnataka. And where the place of supply is? The place of supply is Kerala. Okay. So therefore it will be no doubt interstate supply. Location of supplier in Karnataka, place of supply is in Kerala, no doubt it is interstate supply. There is no confusion in this. Now, suppose if that property is not in Kerala, if that property is in Karnataka only, place of supply is Karnataka and architect is also in Karnataka, supplier is in Karnataka, place of supply is in Karnataka, then definitely it should be intrastate supply na, but no, it is not an intrastate supply. So this supply of services will be deemed interstate supply. Okay. Deemed interstate supply. This is what I was referring to. Okay, this is the information. In case of service, if location of supplier is in India and the place of supply is determined under section 13, and if it is in India, then it will never come under intrastate supply but treated as deemed interstate supply, as the reference for intrastate supply is only section 12. So section 12 comes, place of supply, then only it will become intra, otherwise it will not be. Okay, understood? Then next. Now we are discussing place of supply in case of services. Place of supply in case of services. So now so far what we have seen is place of supply in case of goods. Now we are discussing place of supply in case of services. What I did is that, what I am doing, for every situation, nature of service, if it is 12, what is the place of supply? If it is 13, what is the place of supply? That's how I have divided. So general provisions. General provision is applicable if there is no specific provision. General provision is applicable when there is no specific provision. Okay. So as per general provision, under section 12, B2B location of recipient. B2B also, B2B location of recipient. B2C also location of recipient in the records of the supplier. What is the difference between these two? So B2B means recipient is registered. B2C means recipient is not registered. Both cases location of recipient. But here location of recipient means registered address, GST registered address. Whereas here location of recipient means it need not be GST registered address, it is the address in the records of the supplier. Suppose in supplier records, if recipient address is not there, in supplier records, if recipient address is not there, then what will be taken as the place of supply? The place of supply will be the location of supplier. Okay, very simple. Then suppose if it is 13 same, ditto. We don't have B2B, B2C classification in 13. So in 13 we will never have B2B, B2C classification. Always it is like normal only. So location of recipient in the records of supplier, if that is not there, then we will take location of supplier. Okay. Then can we imply from this that recipient should be outside India but the place of supply in India for section 13 to apply? Need not be. Because section 13 is applicable either if supplier in India or the recipient in India and the other outside India. Okay. So therefore, for application of section 13, one should be in India and the other should be outside India. Got it? So therefore, how can you say that the recipient only should be outside India? Even supplier may be outside India, then section 13 will come. Section 13 is applicable, remember, either supplier or recipient in India, the other outside India. Supplier in India, recipient outside India, section 13. Supplier outside India, recipient in India, then also section 13. Okay. If at all place of supply is determined under section 13, okay, it will never become intrastate supply. That much you remember. Okay. Then next. So this is the general provision. So general provision is applicable when there is no specific provision. So we have some specific provisions here. So that is, wherever we don't have any specific provision, we need to go for general provision. So there is a specific provision. Service in relation to immobile property, including accommodation services. What should be taken as the place of supply? If it is 12, so check whether the immobile property is in India or outside India. If the immobile property is in India, location of that immobile property. If immobile property is outside India, then location of recipient will be taken as the place of supply. So supplier is in India, recipient also India. But the immobile property is located outside India. Then what will be taken? Location of recipient only will be taken as the place of supply. And as per section 13, always location of immobile property will be taken as the place of supply. Sir, how to remember this? So this in study material, if you see, it runs into multiple pages. What I did is that I have simplified this to a greater extent. Okay. So therefore, this much you need to remember, no other go. This much minimum you should remember. And this is like an abstract science. So therefore, there is no logic behind it. You should remember it as it is. Okay. So literally it is like in your mind, you should always register this and take it to the exam hall. So what is it? If it is service in relation to immobile property, section 12, what should be taken? We should take location of the immobile property. What if the immobile property is outside India? Location of recipient. Then section 13, always location of immobile property. Okay, including accommodation service. Then performance based services in relation to individuals. So only when we see through illustrations we will understand this. So when we discuss the illustrations, you will get a clarity about it. Performance based service in relation to individuals. So what performance based services? Food and beauty related. Food and beauty related, we need to take the location where service are actually performed. So like restaurant service, if you take, the location where service is actually performed will be taken as the place of supply. Okay. So for food and beverages, outdoor catering, beauty related, beauty treatment, cosmetic surgery, plastic surgery, all these things. So we need to take location of the performance. Suppose if it is training and performance appraisal, any corporate trainings or normal trainings, performance appraisal is judging a particular, acting as a judge for a reality show, that is known as performance appraisal. We need to take whether it is B2B or B2C, we need to check. If it is B2B, location of recipient. If it is B2B, location of recipient. And if it is B2C, always B2B, location of recipient. If it is B2C, location where service are actually performed. Then when it comes to section 13, then we need to take whether physical presence of the recipient is required or not, we need to see. If the physical presence of the recipient is required, we will take location where service are actually performed. If physical presence of the recipient not required, then in that case, we will go by general provisions itself. Okay. So general provisions means section 13 subsection 2, location of recipient in the records of the supplier, if not location of supplier. So that is with respect to performance based services. So let's do a quick recap of this and then we will see illustrations, and through illustrations again I will explain. Okay. So then performance based service in relation to goods. So we have to take general provision. Section 12 general provision should be taken. Whereas what is the difference between the previous one and this one? Previous one is performance based service in relation to person, individuals. This is performance based service in relation to goods. So which means to individuals we render some services, and in this case on goods we render some services like repairs and maintenance, inspection, etc. Now in case of performance based service in relation to goods, check whether physical presence of the goods is required or not. If it is 12, always general provisions, no doubt. If it is 12, always general provisions, no doubt. If it is 13, whether physical presence of the goods require or not, you need to check. If physical presence of the goods require, then we need to take location where the service are actually performed. If physical presence of the goods is not required, then we need to take location of the goods. Okay. Now, there are some exceptions. If goods are temporarily imported and exported after repairs or any other process, then we need to take location of recipient as the place of supply instead of location where service are actually performed. Okay. So now let's try to understand this with an example here. Performance based services, illustration on performance based services in relation to goods. Now listen carefully. There is a mechanic or consulting engineer. There is a consulting engineer. Where is that consulting engineer is located? This consulting engineer is located in Maharashtra, India. So he is the supplier. What service he provides? He provides services in relation to repairs of some machineries. So he provides services to a foreign client. So a company which is incorporated in Germany. To a company which is incorporated in Germany. To a company which is incorporated in Germany, he provides some services. And he provides some services to a company which is incorporated in India. Okay. Where is it incorporated? Say it is incorporated in India, Karnataka. It is incorporated in India, Karnataka. Now, what will be taken as the place of supply in the second case? What will be taken as place of supply in the second case? This is performance based service in relation to goods. And both are in India. So, therefore, 12 will be applicable. As per 12, what should be taken as the place of supply? General provisions. General provisions means location of recipient. So therefore we need to take place of supply as Karnataka. We need to take place of supply as Karnataka. Why? General provisions is applicable. 12 will be applicable. So under section 12. Under section 12. Whereas if the service recipient is outside India, Germany, then what is that we need to see? What happens here? Whether physical presence of the goods require or not, we need to check. If physical presence of the goods require, means what? So either consulting engineer is going to Germany or the goods are coming to India, correct? Either he is going to Germany or the goods are coming to India. If he is going to Germany, then location where the surveys are actually performed will be taken. If the goods are coming to India on which he do the services, then also location of location where services are actually performed, that is India, will be taken as the place of supply. Understood or not this part? Again I am repeating, there is a consulting engineer who is located in Maharashtra, India. He provides services to a company in Germany and a company in India, and the company in India is in Karnataka. In case of second one, that is both are in India, therefore the place of supply will be taken as per section 12. So therefore location of recipient will be taken as a place of supply. If the recipient is outside India, then it differs. What will happen? We need to check whether it is, whether physical presence of the recipient is required or not required. So if physical presence of the recipient is required, location where services are actually performed, and physical presence of the recipient not required, then location of goods will be taken as the place of supply. Okay, so that's what I am telling. If physical presence of the goods require, location where services are actually performed. So either he may go to Germany or goods can come to India. So then we need to take location where services are actually performed. Suppose if it is other cases, then location of goods will be taken as the place of supply. Physical presence of the goods not required. What is the meaning of physical presence of the goods not required? Means maybe through online he may be inspecting the goods. That's what physical presence of the goods not required. Then we need to take location of goods. Okay. Now here there is an exception to this. What is that? If he goes to Germany, if that engineer goes to Germany, what will be taken as the place of supply? Germany will be taken as the place of supply. But when goods come to India, generally it will be India, because location where services are actually performed. But we have an exception. As per that exception, as goods are temporarily imported for carrying out repairs and exported after repairs, we will take location of recipient as Germany only. That is, Germany only will be taken as the place of supply in this case. Done? So I have just given you first the general thing, and then in exceptional case what will happen is what I have just given to you. Okay. Then second one, in case of R&D services in relation to what? Pharmaceuticals, provided other conditions for export of service is satisfied, then also location of recipient will be taken as a place of supply, but not location where services are actually performed. Repairs and maintenance in relation to aircraft used in business. So this is a latest amendment, May 21 amendment. In case of repairs and maintenance in relation to aircraft also, we will take location of recipient as the place of supply, but not location where services are actually performed. Okay. So this is about performance based service in relation to goods. Then next one is event related services. Event related means, so organizing an event or entry to event. If it is entry to event, both 12 and 13 we will take location where the event is held. Okay, in case of entry, admission to event, location where the event is held will be taken in case of both 12 and 13. Whereas if it is organizing an event, B2B location of recipient, B2C, so location where the event is held. What if the event is held outside India? Then again location of recipient will be taken as the place of supply. But for 13, not at all an issue. Always location where the event is held will be taken as place of supply. Okay. Then transportation of goods. We need to see whether it is B2B or B2C. If it is B2B, location of recipient will be taken as the place of supply. If it is B2C, starting point of the goods will be taken as the place of supply. Okay. and starting point of the goods. Suppose if it is from India to outside India, then always ending point should be taken. Ending point of goods should be taken as the place of supply. Sir, there are a lot of provisions. Yes, you have to remember. If you are attending this lecture for the first time, you feel like, Arey, what is it that he is discussing? I am not able to understand anything. Yes, it will be like that only. Because this chapter you should have already prepared. Only then now you will feel like you are understanding something at least. If you are listening for the first time, you will not understand anything in this. Okay, that's a disclaimer which I am telling. So sorry, it's not my mistake, because if you think that only in revision batch you can learn everything, not possible. Na? Practically any subject, need not be indirect tax, any subject, that is not possible. So in case of India to outside India, it is ending point of the good should be taken as the place of supply. Sir, if it is 13, sir, other than mail or courier, ending point of the goods, mail or courier, we need to refer to general provisions. Then transportation of passengers. So transportation of passengers, same way, B2B, B2C, B2B location of recipient, B2C starting point of the passenger. There actually this B2B, B2C classification is not there. Transportation of passengers, in case of B2C, we need to take, starting point of the passenger. So this B2B, B2C classification is not there. So it is just starting point of the passengers. Okay, so then suppose if it is services provided on board a conveyance. What is service provided on board a conveyance means? Like how we saw goods sold on board a conveyance, this is services provided on board a conveyance. We need to see starting point of the conveyance in both the cases. And if it is OIDR services, if it is 12 general provisions, if it is 13 location of recipient. Then banking and other financial service also same, 12 general provisions, 13 location of supplier. See this, banking and other financial services, we will take location of supplier. Even intermediary services, location of supplier. Then hiring of a means of transport, aircraft and vessel, general provisions. Others up to 30 days, location of supplier. If it is greater than 30 days, general provisions. Then, but in all these three cases under 12, it is general provisions only. Then telecommunication, including broadband and DTH, if it is fixed line, the location where the equipment is installed. If it is mobile postpaid, billing address, always billing address. If it is mobile prepaid, dealer address will be taken as the place of supply. If it is online recharge, general provisions. If it is section 13, we don't have any specific provision, so general provisions only. So this is the summary of place of supply. Just whatever is there, that only I read it. We did not apply. Manner of determination of proportion of value attributable to different states or union territories in case of supply of advertisement services. So generally advertisement services, what will be taken as place of supply? For advertisement services, the place of supply, that is advertisement service provided to whom? Advertisement services provided to central government, state government, union territory, local authority, or any government body or public sector undertaking. Okay, so then that is any statutory body under government. Then in that case we will be taking place of supply as location of each state where the advertisement is provided. For example, if say I have a newspaper, I will be providing services to government, I will be providing services to government, and that is central government. Now I am putting the ad in multiple editions of my newspaper, so therefore I need to take each state where the service is actually performed as the place of supply. What if it cannot be ascertained? See, if it is as per contract, if they say that so this much is for this state, this much is for this state, like that I will take that. If that is not there in the contract, then what I should do? So I need to take some factor or some basis. So what is that basis? That is given in rule 3, clear or not? So what is that rule 3 background? Advertisement services are provided to government or any body under government for which the consideration is received, and that service is in relation to advertisement in more than one state, but we don't have the information related to state wise in the contract. Then we need some factor to apportion that contract price. So what is that factor? That is given in rule 3. Suppose if it is on the trains, if it is on the train, So if you see on the train, the ad will be made. Okay. Then in that case, we need to take the length of track in each state. For example, say it is a Shatabdi Express. On Shatabdi Express, the ad is given. Now money is received. Now with respect to that money received, what will be taken as the place of supply? Now Shatabdi Express goes from Chennai to Mysore. So Chennai to, that is in Tamil Nadu, what is the length of the track? In Andhra Pradesh, because there is a small stretch in Andhra Pradesh. In Andhra Pradesh, what is the length of the track? In Karnataka, what is the length of the track? Like that we need to divide. That is this. Suppose if it is on the railway tickets, that is on the back side of the railway tickets, you can see the government ads. In that case, number of stations in each state or union territory should be taken. Number of stations in each state. Then on the TV channels, in case of TV channels, first you need to get the data. What data? That is viewership data we need to get. Viewership data, how we will get? From BARC, Broadcast Audience Research Council will be giving the viewership data. Broadcast Audience Research Council will be giving the viewership data. Take that Broadcast Audience Research Council viewership data for the channel. Suppose if the channel is being telecasted in more than one state. So usually one channel will be telecast in more than one state. So take that, like that channel, population census in each state and divide based on that. Number of viewers published by BRC of such channel in each state or union territory. Suppose if we get more than one state, so then population census we need to divide. Now listen, sir, which date should be taken? Like date. So we need to take figures of the last week of a given quarter. That is this month I need. So I'll take the previous quarter, last week figures will be taken. Figures of last week of the given quarter will be used for calculation of the succeeding quarter. If data pertains to more than one state, how will I divide? So on the basis of population. On the basis of population. Okay. So this is with respect to, on television. In case of internet, it is deemed to be provided across the country. So means all 28 states, that is 31 states and union territories, we need to divide? Yes, we need to divide. On what ratio? Number of internet subscribers in across the country. In that ratio, we need to divide and we need to determine the place of supply. Suppose if it is through SMS, if the advertisement is through SMS, now we need to take the telecom subscribers data in each state. And who will publish the telecom subscribers data? TRAI will publish the telecom subscribers data. So take that data published by TRAI and based on that we will divide. Okay. Again, which period data should be taken? Last quarter, last week data should be taken. Okay. So this is these five. What are these five? Number one, on the railway train, we need to take length of track in each state. On the ticket, railway ticket, number of stations in each state. And in case of television, BRC published data last week, last quarter for each channel and divided based on the state using population census. And then internet across the country, deemed to be across the country, all states we need to apportion based on internet subscribers. SMS, so try data last week, last quarter with respect to each state and apportion. Okay. And any other advertisement expenses, for example, newspaper, radio or cinema, theatre, etc. expenditure ratio. See this. In any other case, it is the amount payable. Amount payable means expenditure ratio. I get a contract. So my expenditure ratio, in that expenditure ratio, I need to divide amount payable ratio. For example, say the Hindu newspaper ad is being put. First page ad is being put. So in that case, first page in Tamil Nadu edition, how much is the value? And in Andhra Pradesh edition, how much is the value? Like that I have the values. Okay. Now whatever contract price I receive from the government will apportion in these values, amount payable ratio. Okay. Now related to this, they gave one question in one RTP. Okay. So that question in the RTP we will discuss. So related to this, one question was given here that we will see. In one exam, I think, I presume it is May 2020, I presume. Let me check. Yes. May 2020 RTP. In May 2020 RTP, they gave this question. Okay. So let's do this. See this question. This question you can also check. It is in May 2020 RTP here. May 2020 RTP. May 2020 RTP. PQ, a statutory body, deals with all the advertisement and publicity of the government. It has issued a release order to Moon Plus channel registered in state A for telecasting an advertisement. So it is a statutory body under government. So therefore this discussion will be applicable. Advertisement in where? Television. Relating to one of the schemes of government in the month of September. The advertisement will be telecast in state A, B, C, D and E. The total value of the service contract entered into between Moon Plus and PQ is 10 lakhs. So the total contract price is 10 lakhs. Now this 10 lakhs you need to apportion between 5 states A, B, C, D, E. You are required to determine the place of supply of the service in the instant case, as also the value of supply attributable to the states of A, B, C, D, E. Further compute the GST liability of Moon Plus, as also advise it whether it should issue one invoice or separate invoices. So how will you divide? We need the channel viewership data. We are in the month of when? September. So take the data of the previous quarter. So September previous quarter is what? April, May, June. So June last week data we need. So June last week data is this. So what we need to do? First take the 10 lakhs. That 10 lakhs you apportion between these three in this ratio. So between these three channels, say they have one channel in state A, another channel in state B and C, another channel in state D and E. First you apportion this way. So 10 lakhs into, what is the ratio? So the ratio is 1:2:1, correct? 1:2:1 ratio. So 10 lakhs divided by 4. So 2,50,000, 5 lakhs and 2,50,000. Okay. Then again, so state A 2,50,000 you have taken now. Now B plus C 5 lakhs. So B plus C 5 lakhs will be divided in this ratio. So B plus C together is 5 lakhs. That will be divided in the ratio. So 9:1 ratio. So 9:1 ratio means, so 50,000 for C and 4,50,000 for B. Then D plus E together is 2,50,000. So ratio if you see 4:1. 4:1 ratio. So 2,50,000 divided by 5. So 50,000 and 2 lakhs. 50,000 and 2 lakhs. Clear or not? So this way we need to take. Now for this, where the supplier is located? Supplier is located in state A. Moon Plus channel is registered in state A. So therefore, with respect to this, it will be CGST, SGST, correct? And with respect to all these things, it is IGST invoice. And how many invoices are required? 5 states na, place of supply will differ. So 5 invoices. Understood or not? Easy. So this is that question here. So like this, a question can be asked on rules. So this is an RTP question, but they did not ask this yet. Now look into the other areas. Rule number 4 and 8. Rule number 4 and 8 both are connected. 4 is in the context of 12, 8 is in the context of 13. Okay. That is immovable property you take. If the immovable property is in more than one location. For example, I am getting a contract to provide some maintenance service in relation to immovable property. That immovable property is in more than one location. So what will be taken in that case? That immovable property is in more than one location. What will be taken in that case? Immovable property is in more than one location. So when immovable property is in more than one location, we need to take the floor area. And allocate it. Okay. For example, say one hotel is having, like one person is having 3 hotels. one hotel in Andhra Pradesh, another hotel in Telangana, another hotel in Tamil Nadu. What I need to do if I am providing maintenance services, I need to apportion the contract price between these three hotels in the floor area ratio. Area of immovable property lying in each state. In that ratio, I need to apportion the contract value and determine, because what will be taken as the place of supply? Place of supply will be location of each state. Location of immovable property. Immovable property is in more than one place. That's why this problem will arise. Suppose if it is accommodation services and say single package, but the stay is in more than one location, then in that case number of nights stayed in each state should be taken. Number of nights stayed in such property in each state. And then in case of a houseboat, so we board it and we will sleep in one place, but when we wake up it will go to the other place. Then in that case what we need to do? So we need to see the time spent in each state should be taken. Time spent in each state should be taken and we need to apportion. Okay, that is for rule 4. Rule 4, if it is 12, section 12 context, rule 4, section 13 context, rule 8, but both are same. Then rule 5 and 9. Suppose if the event is held in more than one state, wide a single contract. Wide a single contract if the event is in more than one state. So in the ratio of GAAP we need to divide. Okay, so that is expenditure ratio. So for conducting event we will have expenses na. So in that expenditure ratio our revenue should be apportioned. Okay. Then next, rule 6. Computation of value where leased circuit is installed in more than one state. In case of telecommunication services, we need to take location where the fixed line is installed. What if the fixed line is installed in more than one state? We need to take location of that installation, but number of circuit points we should take in each state. For example, state A 10 points, state B 30 points, like that. So in that ratio we need to apportion. So based on the circuit points, number of points lying in each state. Circuit points means connection, number of connections. Then computation of value where service is performed in more than one state, because location where service or actually performed is there na. If the service is performed in more than one state, suppose if it is in relation to same goods, then equal ratio between the states you divide. Suppose if it is on different goods, based on invoice value ratio you need to apportion. Suppose if services provided to individuals, on GAAP ratio. So this is how we need to divide. Okay, so this is about the place of supply rules related information. So please go through rules once again for your exam, because this place of supply is an important area. Of late many questions are being asked from this. Now clarifications through circulars. Number 1. In case of an exporter of services outsources a portion of the service contract to another person located outside India, what would be the tax treatment of the said portion of the contract at the hands of the exporter? See, generally what will happen? I need to render the service. I will outsource one portion to another person. Now, from the recipient, say for example $5,000, I outsource to some extent $2,000. I will receive $3,000. That person will receive $2,000. Now, what will be taken as the export service? $3,000 or $5,000? Contract price $5,000. But I received only $3,000. So we should treat export of service as $5,000 only, because when we outsource it, that is a separate supply. Import of services on which we need to pay GST under RCM. That is this. Then it is clarified that supplier of service located in India would be liable to pay IGST on reverse charge basis on import of services which has been provided by supplier located outside India. Continuation to that. And remaining points already we covered that. Okay. So with this, place of supply is over here. With this, place of supply is over. We completed. So if you want, you take some more questions for practice and see, but this much is only there for place of supply. Okay.